And look at this. There's another lit up crystal thing on the ceiling here. I don't think it can be turned on and off like the other ones though. Now, if this track leads into the pagoda, then there's got to be an exit somewhere, right? They can't all just loop back into the pagoda. I mean, unless there's like a dead end or something. Yeah, there it is. And it leads right back into the funhouse. That's gonna be one huge maze in there, if we ever get to see it. So this would be the last of the resonance rings the ice sphere would travel through. Nope, not falling for it this time. I can see the path ends right here. Oh well, I guess this is where we get off then. So what's all this supposed to be? Some kind of oversized honeycomb? Well, it looks like we're headed for that junkyard next. I'm gonna assume it's broken. Everything else around here is. You can see 2 more tracks headed over to this new location, just like there were at the other 2 places. This one leads down from the cupola, so it must be the entrance track. Yeah, okay, this is pretty straightforward. This is another console thing, so of course it's not going to work on the ground. Now this is one interesting machine that features 2 separate turntables, and they have representations right here on the console. We're given 3 red pins in this tray that we can place into those wheels. There are 4 upside-down tracks connecting the turntables, and there are 5 slots in each wheel where we can put the pins, though there are 6 total positions going around each turntable. And none of this is going to make any sense until we see it in action, so let's see here. Obviously this is not what's supposed to happen because we haven't solved anything yet. But what did happen here? After the cupola spat out another ice sphere, the sphere jumped through this hole onto the inverted track and landed here on the other side. Then the left turntable began to rotate counterclockwise. The left wheel on the console mimicked its behavior and started rotating that way as well. But after the turntable made one full revolution and returned here, all of a sudden a resonance was emitted and shattered the ice sphere. At that point it was too late for anything good to happen, but then the right turntable started rotating anyway. This one rotated in a clockwise direction. And remember I had put a pin in this slot here, and when it got to the bottom of the wheel it fell through. Nothing really became of it, but the ice sphere was already destroyed, so we still need to figure out what those pins are supposed to do. So, this time, let's put a pin on the left wheel and see what it does while the orb is still intact. Now, this pin's going to take a while to get to the bottom of the wheel, because remember this one goes counterclockwise. Well, it broke again, but hey, at least we learned something new. When pins fall through the bottom of the wheel, they trigger a spring in one of the turntable plates, launching the orb into the air. Unfortunately, this time it just crashed into the machine because it was way out here. So, next time, maybe we should aim for one of the positions with a track over it, so it can jump to the other side. But what are we trying to do anyway? What's the goal here? Well, you see this track off to the side? It's not the one the orb's coming down from. That would be this other one right here. And then it kind of disappears from view before popping out of the turntable. But you can see the final track starts under this ring and makes its way into the lower floor of the funhouse. That's the other track we saw coming up here. So if we're trying to get the orb to fall through there, then if you trace it backwards through the track above it, you can see we need to launch it from this spot here. Remember, it starts right here, and the left turntable rotates counterclockwise, so we want it to move 2 spaces before launching. So where does that mean we put the pin? Well, it's not entirely intuitive, because it won't work if we put the pin right here. Since the bottom of the wheel is the final spot for the pin, not the beginning, we need to trace the pin backwards 2 spaces to get to its initial spot. So it ends up on the opposite side of the wheel. But there seems to be a problem here. Looks like a pin is already jammed into this spot. I guess that was Saavedro again. But if Atris left it open originally, then his version of this so-called puzzle would be way too easy. All you gotta do is just put the peg in here, it rotates around, and the orb rotates 2 spaces and heads right into the exit. I think Atris loses some points for that one. Anyway, let's put the pin somewhere else this time. Okay, so when the pin moves over now, the orb will slide to the inside position and jump to the other side. But if we leave it like this, then once it gets to that side, it's just going to spin around the table once and shatter. So let's at least try to send it back over to the left side. Okay, so there's another hazard to look out for. When sending the orb back and forth, we can't let it fall through these open rings into the ocean. And I think that's it. That pretty much sums up the turntable tracks. The orb initially starts right here. We're trying to get it to land right there. We can't launch from these outside positions or else it'll crash on top. And we can't drop it through these open rings or else it'll fall into the water. But other than that, this puzzle doesn't look like it'll be much of a problem. And that's the sound of a perpetual storm on the rise that never seems to get here. And this funhouse is obstructing our view of the balance bridge. But that's okay, we already know what it looks like. And there are the beautiful resonance rings on the sunny side of this age. Look at all these green rock pillars. Are they really that green, or are they just covered in moss? And if it's moss, then why aren't all the other rocks around this island covered too? I just blew your mind. Ah, there's another set of journal pages. That makes sense, because now there's one near each of this theme park's attractions. The memories flood over me too fast. They race around inside my head, filling my soul with despair. And the more I think about how nothing can be done, how no one can be alive outside his shield, the faster the fog rushes in. I can lose myself in the fog. When it's thick enough, I can let go and be safe. I can start to forget. But I must not forget. I must remember every lie they told my people. How they manipulated us all to get what they wanted. They told me they had come to fix my world. They asked me to arrange a meeting with the elders. The books they carried in with them showed other worlds, beautiful places where people didn't have to work so hard to survive. They told my people that Atris had written these books, that he had written Orion, but that he'd made our world unstable. They said he wanted to make us slaves to the tree. They asked me, "Don't you remember, Saavedro? Our father wrote this world to teach us, to show his sons what an age shouldn't be." I don't know what to say. I don't know how it could be true. But why would they lie? Why would Atris have lied? The worlds they showed us in those books. The elders refuse to believe them. They say we cannot abandon the tree. For thousands of years we have tended the lattice roots. Without our traditions, we will die. I don't want us to die. I don't. But Cirrus and Achenar said. They said they would come back, Saavedro. Just like Atris once said to you as well. He said he would come back. But then he didn't. He didn't. And for that, you will have to make him pay.